Hello, welcome back. This is going to be a very important video, so listen up. This is going to cover some of the essential hardware that you need to make this a fully functioning, happy operation. And this is one of the things that I've seen most posted about, most asked about, and once again, like I said, most essential for this to stay put and make a good kick sound for you. So one of the things that I've seen most approached was this little piece here. It is how you are going to clamp your kick pedal to the kick drum and have it not move anywhere. It's most importantly. So I'm going to tell you how not to do it, and this is how not to do it right here. There's a hinge. I used this long fence hinge for whatever reason. Basically this whole piece up here is not really needed. If you can get something that is flush with that, you can hide it a little more. Also, something about the length and the width of these are difficult to find in a box hinge. And I also didn't build this up at all. I didn't give it any extra space. So there's not much for a kick pedal to clamp onto, which every kick pedal seems to be different. Some will clamp onto that, others will not. And that's what happens when the kick drum goes sliding all up and down, all willy-nilly during a set when you're trying to play a kick drum heavy song like Seven Nation Army or something like that. So that's what I made. Since that one's hooked up, I will show you this one. Basically, what you're gonna find is a 3-inch door hinge. It's very important. I'm probably gonna put up a list of these things and places to buy them, so you aren't running around the hardware store without a list. So I'll give you a list, or I'll just put them on Amazon so you can buy them directly from whoever sells them. So 3-inch door hinge, yeah, 3 inches. And I'll show you the inside of how I bolted these on. This is a anti-skid rubber pad that you can put under any piece of furniture. This one's a very large one. It's 3 inches as well, so that's why they fit together oh so perfectly. I cut this with a X-Acto knife. I shaved it down with an X-Acto knife and threw in 2 bolts here with a certain type of, I'm going to call that a nut, or a fastener that has teeth on the other side that will clamp down into there. A little bit of Loctite, it will not go anywhere, and it is very firm rubber. It's not going to pull away even when your heavy-footed drummer goes on here and wails away at it. And it's enough thickness for your kick pedal to latch onto there and not go anywhere. I might be able to cut it a little bit more this way so it can fold up a little better, but it does what it needs to do, so I'm not too worried about it. This is the best way to do it. Trust me, trust me. I mean, really, you could do anything here, but the door hinge, 3-inch door hinge, is the best way to do it. And I've been thinking about this piece quite a bit, and I can't really think of anything that would have worked better for any less amount of money than I spent. On the inside, you want to drill 3 holes to correspond with that door hinge. What I used was a washer and a lock washer. So once you tighten it down, it's not going to want to come out. Once again, Loctite is definitely recommended. I'll show you the inside as well of these legs. So the next part, if you haven't guessed, which you probably guessed, is going to be about legs. This one's a hot topic. The reason I want to cover this in-depthly is because I've seen a lot of Suitcase drums with no legs on them. I don't really understand why people think that they're not going to go anywhere unless you put legs on there. Some seem to miraculously wobble only a little bit, but they all wobble. They seem to be very flimsy, and as a drummer, as a singer-songwriter who is playing and kicking on this thing voraciously. I hate to see that thing move around and walk around on stage while I'm trying to stay put and focus on lyrics and songs and verses and choruses and all the things that I focus on while playing. So I'm going to go over the legs here. What we see are 3 different types of legs, which I will link to 3 different constructions that I've made. And to start off, this is the most expensive way to do it. You can find these probably for about $60 for a pair of these things. But if you have a kick drum that you were just you have around your house, that say you're a drummer, and as most drummers do, hoard drum equipment, you have something that you want to sacrifice for the greater good of Suitcase drumming. That's what I did, and this worked pretty well, but I found that I couldn't replicate it, and it was also fairly limited, so I wouldn't really suggest doing it this way. But you know, if you think it looks cool and you think it might work for you, it will work. It'll keep it from moving anywhere as long as you tighten it down pretty well. Once again, prototype model. Could use a little TLC, tender love and care, before it gets back on stage. But it definitely worked for what I needed it to. Secondly, my most recent build, I found these pieces together. They came in a set. I think I paid maybe $40 for the whole set. It might have been actually less. I can't exactly remember, but I definitely didn't spend more than $40 for these pieces of hardware together. I drilled holes right inside of this thing for those to connect, and they work out really well. And for what this suitcase is used for, I do not close it back up. I do not intend to use this as a drum kit. This is really just for me going out with the guitar on a lazy Sunday morning out to the river to play my heart out, and I don't want to carry a big old suitcase that makes people look at me weird on the sidewalk, or I don't want to take all of the drum equipment out of my other suitcase, so I have to. I'm a little crazy, but if you didn't get that by now, then maybe you're crazy too. So I like this method. It definitely keeps it in place. You can tighten these down as much as you need to. You can basically, I think at the end of the day, if you can tighten it down as much as possible, and you actually want to have the suitcase leaning back a little bit, as you can see, go match the other one over here, more or less, just drop it down. It should not really go too far at all. And then the last way that I would recommend to do it, and this is if you're trying to make a suitcase drum kit, I would highly recommend doing it this way. It was very inexpensive. I think it was almost the exact same price as this one, but you want to get yourself 2 tom drum legs. I showed you how I connected them in the back. It's very simple. You just want to drill through with a Dremel tool and you're set. And then 2 tom legs. Probably want to get yourself 10.5mm legs. They make different gauges of hardware and they go up and down in price based on the gauge. But this way is very easy, very cheap. When I'm finished playing with this one for the day, I actually take these off, throw them inside the suitcase, and I'm good to go. Very incognito. Don't get to see much out of that. For this one here, when I'm finished playing, all I do is pull it up, pull it in, and tighten it again. Takes up less space in the truck when I'm traveling. It's a good system, but the benefit of this, the biggest benefit, is that you can mount things off of this. I'll show you some accessories and some different ways to make your drum kit more robust in another video, but this is very crucial if you want to have something coming off of there, like a cymbal mount, which I do have a crash cymbal that normally sits over here while I drum, and it makes it so it's a it all kind of sits on top of there. And then the most important piece of this whole thing, whether you put this on carpet, on tile, on the beach, the boardwalk, wherever you are, the biggest thing that I would recommend anybody watching this video this far into it, 10 minutes in, is get yourself one of these. It is a 4.5 kilogram, basically a 10-pound kettlebell. I think it's filled with sand and I don't know, other stuff that I don't really care to know about, but it was very inexpensive. I can link to that on Amazon as well. If you throw some weight inside of this thing, with or without the legs, it's going to be less likely to move anywhere, but when you have some weight sitting down here, forcing itself onto the legs, it is very stable, and that piece, among others, has made the biggest difference to how far I have to chase the Suitcase drum. And if you're a drummer as well, depending on what type of floor you're on, you know even a full-size kit will get away from you, and it is quite a problem. So I would definitely recommend getting yourself a kettlebell, basically a flexible or canvas kettlebell or sandbag to throw in there. It adds a little bit of weight while you're carrying it, but you will thank yourself later for having it. So there we are. That is the Granddaddy's Daddy video of things you need to know about Suitcase drums and how to get away with making that thing not move and be usable for you for as little cost as possible. So thank you. I probably have one more video and I'll go over different things that you can do to these things to make it more exciting. So thanks again. Bye.